Let's freaking go! You really have to start asking the question, how many guys deserve the MVP more than him? You can argue Baker Mayfield, Dak Prescott, a few others. Obviously, Dak's record isn't as good, but he's still playing really well. But the truth is, there's just not many people better than 1-5 right now. So you get a really good yak right there from Mr. Travis Kelce, and a special shout out to Travis. The most important thing we'll discuss in this video are my fellow hairy-chested men. It's been a great year for us, and we must band together against the bare-chesters. Anyway, on the deep over, Mahomes is able to get this in to JuJu Smith-Schuster. Almost picked off right there by Kirby Joseph. I can't wait to see the actual all-22 on that play, but I trust Mahomes getting that in there. Really good stuff, and I wonder if those two get into it a little bit later. What a good piece of wide receiver play. Alrighty, so I love the fact that Kansas City elects to be very aggro versus the most aggressive fourth down team in the league. And this honestly is a really good piece of offense right here. So you have the motion man over here to help indicate that this is indeed man coverage. So once Mahomes sees that, they call a really good man beater here. And so much of what the Chiefs do is a trips bunch look. Now, normally this is Kelce instead of Noah Gray. And obviously the pickoff, you could see the breakdown from last week, was in-breaker here and then some in-breaker being run behind it. Instead, this is another variation of what I like to call the best screen and roll offense in the NFL. Basically, pick plays where you're not actually picking the defender, if you will. So you have Worthy going out onto the flats. Obviously, if you're the Lions in a perfect world, you want this DB taking the flat, and then obviously you picking up him. They don't pass it off, and Amick Robertson is in a really difficult spot. Mahomes sees it and throws an absolute perfect strike right there to Xavier Worthy, and Chiefs Kingdom starts off with a nice touchdown. Alrighty, so obviously the Chiefs are one of the better reverse teams in the NFL. You have a pitch here to Pacheco, back to Xavier Worthy, and now you have to pay attention to the throwback to Worthy. Everything is just defended deep. You know, I don't have another angle to see if something was open. I think if it was open, Mahomes would have thrown it somewhere. He just takes these yards, right? These are just free rushing yards here on first down. So this turns into one of the worst plays of the Mahomes season, and this is mostly on him. Obviously, from where I sit, there wasn't anything open down the field, but man, Noah Gray on Hutchinson. Once again, this is obviously a very elaborate, deep shot right here. Still, this is just not a matchup you're going to win, right? Hutchinson, of course, one of the better pass rushers in the NFL, and Mahomes shows really bad ball security here, and you get a good piece of arrowhead magic on this fumble. Goodness gracious. If this squirts out in any different type of direction this way, 52 has a beat on it, and if he picks it up clean, he's probably scoring. I doubt Creed Humphrey is able to beat him in a foot race, and Mahomes is still able to recover it. This is really, really, really good defensive coaching by one of the best coach teams in the NFL, arguably the best coach team in the NFC over the past couple of years, has been this Detroit Lions team, okay? So this is not only a thing in college, it's really bad in college, but in the NFL it's also a thing that a lot of fourth and shorts are completed on little running back leaks into the flat that don't look like they're going in that direction into the flat. All right, so it looks like this is initially going to be some variation of a rollout to the left, and then you're actually basically having the running back run a fake here and then come out of here into the flat, and you can see the Lions are sitting here ready for it, okay? So there's obviously a more shallow secondary option. Kelce leaking after the fact. He runs into the DT, and now Mahomes just basically has nowhere to go, and he's just got to throw this up into the air, and everything is pretty well defended. And then we get to here. I just don't know what else to say about these two, okay? It's just telepathic, all right, this ball is being released so early, okay? This is when Mahomes is deciding to throw this football with the 8 and the 7 turn to his back. And obviously they have, a decade experience working on this, but just go with your friend and try your best to just throw a ball before the friend turns around and is actually looking at you. It's a lot more difficult than it looks. Okay, so you play pitch and catch, and boom, you're in field goal range. Alrighty, so this is one of our most viral Chiefs videos, and this is by far my favorite Andy Reid play. It's this one right here. Okay, and they run different variations of this, and they basically won that Buccaneers overtime game from last year running this play, and then they ran it in the playoffs versus the Texans. Hard to guard this, even if you're looking at Kelce more as a receiver than if anything else, because he's at fullback, right? They can just hand it off and run lead in this direction, but they're likely not going to do it. One good thing about running routes from the tight ends at fullback is that they're really able to get ahead of steam. Whereas, they're coming out of a stance and then going. It allows them to get some velocity on the route. And look at where the play action fake is taking place. They're still thinking it could be a run here. And now they're flat-footed backpedaling, and they're running downhill full speed. A very beautiful design. And basically, this is just a simple sail-ish flood variation. You have a vertical being run here, then in the flat right here, and the ball is always going to Kelce. It's so hard to stop. And now he is man-to-man versus his backer. Just give a slight rollout to give yourself an even better angle. And guess what? It's going to be there. Okay? Look at when Mahomes is deciding to throw this. God, it's so, so, so good. Like, the design is so good. Okay? And Travis Kelce should have scored here. Okay? But, man. And then we get to here. Mahomes had 4 games last year where he had 20-plus fantasy points. All of last year. So far, he has 5. And a big reason is because of his rushing. Okay, fake pitch. Obviously, he goes to the pitch man. It's man-to-man versus his backer. And Mahomes is just going to win that every single time. God, this is just easy stuff for Mahomes to pick apart here. Stack these receivers. There's no way this backer is going to get out here. There's no corner out here either. And this quick out to Noah Gray is simple pitch and catch. Boom. Okay? Right between the 8 and the 3. And, well, it's just way too easy from a Lions perspective. God bless. This is just gross, gross, gross stuff. Fake pitch, and you're running a screen in the opposite direction. I love the fact that this game was such a quick passing game because, well, the Chiefs were missing an offensive lineman due to a personal matter. So getting the quick screen game going was crazy. This was an amazing game from both Mahomes and also a good game from Jared Goff, but the ADOTs in this game were very low. ADOT basically means average depth of target. So this would be a negative ADOT play in theory. That's like the lowest ADOT you possibly could have. Just a little pitch play that does count as a passing touchdown. And obviously, the Chiefs were the ones that initially made this popular. And a big discussion point, in particular, when you're comparing the 2 tight end goats of the past decade or so, which is Travis Kelce and Rob Gronkowski, is Kelce's blocking. Look at what he does here. Just destroys this block right here, Curry Joseph, and then actually has Brian Branch. And he decided to get physical after the game, but not during the game. Okay? Getting physical with Kelce, that's what's again Taylor's job. I'm kidding. All right, so you have a 2-for-1 here. Okay, Curry Joseph was trying to block. Brian Branch gets blown back into Curry, and that's a really good piece of blocking right there. It was a little shocking to see Hollywood Brown just kind of run directly into him right there, but there wasn't much of a crease. I get it. And it's a touchdown. Most underrated play of this game. Looks very simple. It kind of sort of is for Kelce and Mahomes, but it is 3rd and 7. And obviously, this is a huge game for Kansas City. So, well, it's going to be 15-87 all day, every day. The protection in this game was really, really, really good overall. And Boom. Okay, an almost dropsy right there from Kelce, but it's a really good throw. Last year with Xavier Worthy, so much was made of everything just kind of being schemed open for him, and then him taking over the Rashee Rice role. And how's this going to work when Rice comes back? When a simple way of looking at it is, and once again, before we actually break down this Worthy play, obviously this is a tough ask one-on-one versus Aiden Hutchinson. So he spins 77 spins with them and at least puts up a fight. Okay, but because this is happening so quick, it really doesn't matter. Okay, so you're going to see more of this from Xavier Worthy, special plays. So we make this guy miss. It is funny, Branch was just downright atrocious in this game. And then we're turning up the field and turning this into a huge gain, right? It was just supposed to be a 5 or so yard gain. Worthy does get shoestrung there by a backer. We don't want to see that, but really good stuff. My favorite DC in the NFL is actually the Lions DC, Kelvin Shepard. We actually lived in the same apartment in college for a bit, and Shep's a really nice guy. And this was a tough night because the first night you play Andy Reid is always going to be a tough night. This is just backyard stuff, okay? Like, it's such a weird looking RPO because this linebacker isn't too far into this run fit. He's actually out here. But look, Mahomes sees it and then throws it quickly. And look, he just kind of flips it just to get it out there as quickly as he could to JuJu Smith-Schuster. And they're just going to take those yards every single time. And once again, Branch almost missed that tackle there. Basically, this was just a quick screen game. You're going to sit back into this too high shell. Chiefs aren't running the ball as good. So guess what? It becomes a quick screen game. Good blocks down the field right here by Kelce and JuJu Smith-Schuster. And hand was inside the chest plate, so it's not a hold if you ask me. I could also see them calling it as well. It's very subjective. There is a term in football called gravity. Okay, it's also a great song by John Mayer. Go listen to it if you haven't. And basically, even though, many consider him to be washed, Travis Kelce still has a whale of gravity. Is whale even a unit of gravity? I don't know. It's late. Look at what he actually does on this play right here. Okay. Now, Chiefs obviously had a pick six in the red zone, and that's always in the back of everyone's mind. Okay. So in this situation, they're running an angle route by Pacheco, and oftentimes he is the read on this play. So you have in breaker here, and if you're a backer, you're thinking that this is an out, but it's not an out. You out and then break back in. Okay, so you'll see right here, Mahomes is looking at Pacheco, and he doesn't like it. All right, he sees that Anzalone is right there waiting for Pacheco to give this some help. Now, Mahomes gets off of it because if you throw this is not going anywhere. It could get picked. So let's go back to Kelce. Okay, he is running basically an over right here, or an in-breaking route, if you will. And watch what actually happens. 46 runs with Kelce. Kirby Joseph runs with Kelce. This corner also runs with Kelce. Okay? And guess what? It leaves Hollywood Brown wide open. Okay? It's really, really, really good stuff. Look at that. Okay? Look at that. The more you watch Mahomes, even last season, which, I shared that fantasy stat a little bit earlier, where it wasn't as pretty as it has been this year, which is strange because you were undefeated for a good portion of last year, and now you're just a 3-3 team. But, Mahomes is the guy. He just is that guy. And, my love for Burrow, as far as my fandom for Mahomes, kind of blinded me to how freaking good this guy is at football. I know it's kind of tough to explain, but, dude, there's just not many people walking the face of the earth that has ever played the game of football that's better than this guy. It's just that simple. And I'm just not. I'm not betting against that guy. I'm just not. Okay. So Chiefs are going to make probably win the Super Bowl now. Yeah, I'm sorry to say that. It is Power Hour NFL. Boom. Tonight we're doing calzones.